Please stay on your game and look out for each other.
Ready? Let's go!
Next Monday.
Someone found an underwater bomb.
It's an explosive, all-new episode.
I gotta go.
What happened?
This is a job you have to put your heart into.
Come on, please, please.
You can die on this job.
Rescue High Surf, all new next Monday at 9 on Fox.
Discover for yourself why over 15 million viewers have made Doc TV's biggest new show. Doc, tomorrow on Fox.
Now, your primetime local news leader. Fox 22 News at 10.
A standoff in Brewer tonight ended peacefully with the suspect surrendering to authorities. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Beth Jones.
And I'm Devin Dagnall. Multiple agencies were involved in the incident on Riverview Terrace, which ended just after 8 o'clock. Officers from the Brewer Police, Bangor Police, and Penobscot County Sheriff's Office were all on scene. Not much information is known at this time, but the Brewer Police Department confirms the incident was resolved just after 8. We were there as the suspect exited a residence with his hands in the air and, following police commands, walked off a porch and submitted to arrest. You can see the individual was a white male and was smoking what appears to be a cigarette as he surrendered. Again, not many details are known at this time as far as why the individual was wanted or how long exactly the standoff lasted. We'll keep you updated as more information becomes available.
On Saturday, President Trump announced he would impose a 25% tariff on Canadian imports except for oil and energy imports. Now, after a second phone call with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau this afternoon, the U.S. will be pausing Canadian tariffs for at least 30 days. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard has more on how our congressional delegation is responding.
I'm very concerned that imposing arbitrary tariffs on Canada will really drive up the cost of living for most Maine residents.
Maine's congressional delegation is responding to President Donald Trump's Saturday night announcement of a 25% tariff on our Canadian neighbor, including a 10% tariff on energy imports. Congressman Jared Golden defended Trump's tariffs, saying in a statement, quote, "Reversing the damage of decades of globalization will take time. In the meanwhile, every dollar raised in tariff revenue should be used to offset costs for Americans or invest in and protect American jobs and industries." Senator Angus King took a more cautious approach, saying, quote, "Given the fact that they aren't set to happen until tomorrow, and this administration has already canceled one of its policies within a day, we don't want to speculate on this and alarm Maine people." End quote.
I think you have to distinguish between the tariffs that are being imposed on China and Mexico because of the drug trade versus the impact of the tariffs on Canada, our closest trading partner, a good friend and ally.
After a phone call scheduled for 3 p.m. on Monday, it was announced that the tariffs, including retaliatory tariffs imposed by Prime Minister Trudeau, would be paused for the next 30 days while the two countries negotiate a border deal. Senator Susan Collins does not believe this has damaged U.S. and Canadian relations.
I don't think so in the long term. Canada has long had a very close relationship with the United States, and I think we can get back on track.
Earlier Monday morning, it was also announced that the proposed tariffs against Mexico would also be paused for 30 days. In Augusta, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
A large number of law enforcement responded to an incident in Portage Lake earlier today. The Aroostook County Sheriff's Office confirmed the incident on Ranger Street. Although few details were available, they did say roads in the area were closed down and they asked the public to avoid it. Spokesperson Shannon Moss says Maine State Police are assisting in the ongoing incident. We'll have more details as they become available.
Meanwhile, a Washington County man charged with manslaughter in the death of his wife will no longer face charges in court. 76-year-old Charles Harmon of Marshfield was indicted on other charges as well, including domestic violence, aggravated assault, intentional or knowing endangering the welfare of a dependent person, and domestic assault. The charges are all related to the death of 79-year-old Caroline Harmon. In court today, a judge ruled Charles Harmon was not competent to stand trial, and all charges were dismissed. The decision was based on evaluations by a psychologist who has been seeing him.
I felt that he had continued to decline and again could not demonstrate any of the skills needed for competence to proceed. I also gave an opinion that he would not be restorable. His competence-related deficits are due to neurocognitive decline, memory decline, and dementia.
Caroline Harmon remained in the hospital until her death on September 15, 2022. Charles Harmon will remain in the custody of the Department of Health and Human Services.
A Bangor woman has been sentenced for her role in a conspiracy to distribute drugs in Penobscot and Aroostook counties. 29-year-old Shelby Loring has been incarcerated for 32 months. The judge sentenced her to time served and 3 years of probation. Loring pleaded guilty in January 2023. According to court records, Loring and others trafficked methamphetamine and fentanyl in 2 counties and elsewhere. 21 defendants have been charged in this case and other related cases for their part in a widespread northern Maine drug trafficking conspiracy. To date, 11 of the defendants have been sentenced.
Well, in other news tonight, as trash continues to pile up in Maine's landfills, the cost of transferring and disposing waste is also increasing. In Skowhegan, town officials are looking at ways to help alleviate costs on residential taxpayers. Our Grace Blanchard explains.
The Regional Recycling Center and Transfer Station in Skowhegan transfers more than 6,000 tons annually of household debris alone to a nearby landfill.
The town of Skowhegan does pay for all trash that is generated within Skowhegan, whether it's brought here to the transfer station or somebody hires a commercial hauler.
According to the waste management supervisor, the town is expected to pay over $600,000 this fiscal year to dispose of both commercial and residential trash.
We can reduce the waste that we're generating in town. That's a big thing right there. And increase the recycling. I would see a really big flip on the budget-wise.
According to Kirk, Skowhegan is one of the few Maine towns that still pays for both residential and commercial waste disposal. She presented her findings to the select board recently and recommended the town stops paying to throw away trash from commercial establishments.
There's no way that taxes or what it's costing to operate up there is going to go down.
Kirk is hoping to see more local businesses prioritize recycling to help generate revenue and mitigate costs.
Food is hard to reuse, it's canned, but the plastic or anything that at the restaurant we can reuse, we will do.
It's still cheaper than throwing it in the trash can where we have to pay to have it hauled away. So, I think it's a win-win as far as however you look at it for the town and the town's people, bringing down those taxes.
The selectmen have not made any decisions but plan to discuss the topic further. In Skowhegan, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, Maine students have the opportunity to see in person how our government operates at the State House. From elementary age through high school, they are invited to participate in the Honorary Page program, which allows them to perform the duties of the chamber staff for a day. Our Jody Hersey has more.
As lawmakers recently gathered in the Maine House of Representatives chambers, 4 students from Dexter Regional High School joined them to work as honorary pages.
It mostly entails performing duties that the chamber staff would do, so passing around notes, amendments, or supplements from reps, or even down to the other body, down at the other end.
Students participating in the program are welcome in both the House and Senate, where they are formally introduced before being seated in the front of the room. There they keep their eyes peeled on a seating chart that lights up when they are needed.
There's a little screen down in the front, and if it turns yellow, we'd have to go to that chair and we'd grab that slip, and then they'd point us into the direction where they would want us to leave that slip they just wrote.
Throughout the session, these messengers are under the supervision of the Sergeant-at-Arms and chamber staff, while their chaperones are welcome to watch them perform their duties from the House gallery. On the day we visited, lawmakers kept them on their toes.
It was relatively easy, just very fast paced.
Austin Davis, the clerk of the Maine House of Representatives, says it's a program that's been inspiring students for years.
I'm 29 and I served as an honorary page when I was in the 7th grade, so it's been around for some time now.
Those interested in participating simply fill out a form online and give it to their local representative or mail it into the clerk's office to schedule an upcoming day and time. High school senior Mackenzie Clay is glad she did.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool experience. You don't get to see stuff like this very often, so I think other students should be doing this as well, yeah.
In Augusta, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Looks like a great opportunity indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure they're getting inspired. We could have a whole new batch of legislators right there.
Well, I think that's probably the goal, and I think it's a good way to go about it.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's get a first check of our forecast.
Thank you so much, Beth. Our first weather tonight is brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Old Town Redemption offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. All right, snow is falling out there right now, my friends, so be careful. Roads are not in good shape, and they will continue to decrease in really intensity as we head later and later into the overnight hours. Now, the snow, not going to be heavy at all. We're talking some light snow out there. Now, high temperatures, though, 34 as a high earlier today. Check out Rockland, 36. Bar Harbor, you were the big winner. Warmest temperatures around 38 degrees, melting some snow on the ground away up north. Millinocket, Greenville, still got that thick snowpack on the ground, only back in those upper 20s. No winter weather advisories, though, which is a good thing, but we are seeing a gale watch in effect and also a gale warning in effect till right around midnight on Wednesday, so be careful if you are out and about. For tonight, though, continue to see those scattered snow showers in the area. Temperatures back in those mid to upper 20s. Beth?
Conrad, thank you. And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, authorities are looking into numerous reports of vandalism in Penobscot and Piscataquis counties.
And the FDA is raising awareness over a broccoli recall linked with Listeria bacteria. We'll have those stories and more local news when we return.
Counties in our state, Cumberland and Franklin, Piscataquis and Kennebec, Oxford and Muskegon. 2, 3, 4, Water, Washington and York, Lincoln, Knox and Hancock, Saginaw and Somerset, Aroostook and Penobscot.
New or used? What's your preference? If you prefer to buy used, it's smart to buy a Toyota certified used vehicle from Down East. Here's why. All vehicles go through a rigorous 160-point inspection. They come with comprehensive and powertrain warranties, a Carfax history report, and 7 years of roadside assistance. Plus, qualified buyers get low new car financing rates. It's true, the best new cars do make the best used cars. For Toyota certified used vehicles, all roads lead to Down East on Wilson Street in Brewer.
We're lucky to live in Maine. We have a wealth of natural resources, hardworking people, and time for the things that matter. Mechanical Services is all about Maine, with energy efficiency that protects our environment and helps businesses grow. Preventive maintenance and energy solutions that save money. How Maine is that? Mechanical Services. We're everywhere you are in Maine.
Everyone has a reason to quit smoking or vaping. Maybe it's for your kids, your health, or just to prove to yourself you can. No matter your reason, quitting can be tough, but Mainers are tougher. Maine QuitLink offers free help to quit smoking and vaping. Get a personalized quit plan and free medications to control nicotine cravings. No insurance needed, no cost to Mainers. Because quitting tobacco with a little extra help is more successful than quitting cold turkey. Quit like a Mainer. Enroll online at mainquitlink.com or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
The Super Bowl's coming to town.
This restaurant is festering. I'm amazed you haven't killed anybody.
Kitchen Nightmares, Road to Super Bowl 59. All new Tuesdays on Fox.
Hello, everyone. The cost of many items are expected to rise as the president reshapes our government spending. And Mainers are waiting to see how new tariffs could impact their lives. We'll have the very latest on those changes coming up on the next Good Morning Maine. We hope you'll join us then.
could be getting hit the hardest by the current housing market. Some real estate investors say rising home prices and interest rates are keeping an entire generation from owning a home. Some financial experts say most of Gen Z cannot afford a home because wages are not keeping up with the market's price increases. Financial experts estimate an average potential home buyer can afford a house that costs around $111,000, but the average home price in this country right now is more than $420,000. Real estate experts say the number of houses young families can afford has sunk from 50% to just 15% during the last decade.
The Food and Drug Administration has raised the alert level on a previous broccoli product recall to the highest level of health risk. The FDA now says it's elevated the status of the recall of 12-ounce market-side broccoli florets made by the Braga Fresh Foods Corporation to Class 1 health alert. The FDA says there's a reasonable probability that consumption of the affected broccoli could cause serious health issues or even death because of Listeria bacteria contamination. The products were sold at Walmart stores in 20 states and have a Best Buy sale date of December 10th, 2024. The recall was announced back on December 31st. Braga Fresh says the products should not be eaten and should be immediately thrown out.
Well, a Dexter woman says her car's exterior is now damaged after a vandalism incident where someone threw an egg on her car while she was driving. Heather Wyman says she was taking her cat to the vet in Newport when she heard something hit her car. She later realized it was an egg, which then froze onto her car door and chipped the paint when it was removed. Through social media, she learned she wasn't the only one. Several other people reported finding egg residue on their vehicles in other parts of Penobscot and Piscataquis counties.
I had someone reach out to me and ask me if it had happened to me and where it was. So I let him know, and he said, "Oh, well, it just happened to me too." After that, another person that I'm acquainted with got hold of me and said the same thing had happened to her husband.
According to the Piscataquis County Sheriff's Office, some juveniles did admit to throwing eggs at a vehicle in Sangerville, but it's unknown if that was connected to any other egging incidents.
Coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, President Trump paused tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada for 1 month after phone calls with both leaders.
And FBI agents across the country have been fired, forced to retire, or resigned recently, with hundreds more expected to follow. Those stories and more when we come back.
Champions of Magic is back with an explosive all-new show featuring thrilling and mind-bending illusions sure to entertain the entire family. The world's only team of illusionists present an interactive, high-energy production unlike anything you've seen before. Get your tickets to North America's biggest touring illusion show, Champions of Magic.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
We've got a 100-year-old company here, and it's because of the service, the quality, and the experience. It gets done right.
I think we've been doing it for so long. The only thing that we do, that when we walk into a room, we automatically know how to treat that window. We can take any product that the customer's looking for and make it work in just about any situation that they present us with. So
there's no reason to be overwhelmed when we can help you through it.
We're not going anywhere. We've been around for 100 years.
Let your creativity run free at the Creative Arts Center, where we offer fun and affordable activities for all ages. Birthday parties, pottery wheel classes, painting lessons, or just for the fun of it. Get fired up for glazing projects as well as acrylics. We offer a wide selection of ceramic products for you to choose from, and we have thousands of pieces ready to paint. We are a Paragon kiln dealer and a Laguna Clay distributor. Stop by the Creative Arts Center today, located just off the Joshua Chamberlain Bridge in Brewer. The Creative Arts Center, where your only limitation is your imagination.
Only one show is big enough.
to follow the Super Bowl.
Let's go!
Let's go!
Category is pets.
Pig, snake, turtle. This is a pet?
You guys ready?
Way on!
Let's start it!
The Floor, season premiere right after the game on Fox.
There's one number you need to know. It's called Joe.
President Trump paused tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada for 30 days after phone calls with both leaders Monday. While negotiations continue, the countries agreed to strengthen border security. Fox's Kevin Cork has more from Washington.
President Trump pausing hefty tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada for 30 days after phone calls with leaders from both countries. The move, although temporary, averts a trade war that could have disrupted the global economy.
President Trump is sending a very strong message to the rest of the world, including our North American allies.
But the agreements come with conditions. Mr. Trump said Monday Mexico intends to strengthen border security and address drug trafficking.
They've agreed to put in 10,000 soldiers permanently, like forever, 10,000 soldiers at their side of the border and stop fentanyl and illegal aliens from coming into our country.
The president confirmed the future negotiations would involve several members of his cabinet, as well as high-level representatives from Mexico. After a phone call with President Trump, Canada's Prime Minister confirmed his country will be implementing a $1.3 billion border plan, which was originally rolled out in December, which includes deploying new technology and personnel to the northern border. In addition, Canada will appoint a new fentanyl czar.
I think to keep on threatening the tariffs at this point is a terrible idea because, as I say, it makes your country poorer, markets go down, and investment goes down and security goes down.
As of now, President Trump's 10% tariff on China is still a go, but Mr. Trump says he plans to speak with Chinese President Xi Jinping later on in the week. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
Meanwhile, the Trump administration is working to make changes at federal agencies, including the Justice Department and FBI. President Trump appears to be targeting employees who worked on cases involving the January 6th rioters. Fox's David Spunt has details from Washington.
A mass exodus is in the works inside the halls of the DOJ and FBI. Acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove, the former defense attorney to President Trump, sending a department-wide memo entitled Terminations. Quote, I do not believe that the current leadership of the Justice Department can trust these FBI employees to assist in implementing the president's agenda faithfully. Bove instructed FBI leaders to compile lists of agents involved in the more than 1,500 investigations of January 6 rioters. At least 4,000 agents across the country received a 12-question survey about their roles that was due by 3 p.m. today. An unnamed current FBI agent says, quote, we took an oath to protect the American people and the Constitution, and now we are being targeted for it. A former FBI agent tells Fox, quote, cleaning up Washington doesn't mean tearing down the institutions that protect Americans. We need real reform, not a purge. Let's fix what's broken without destroying what works. President Trump today doubling down on the changes.
We have to have pristine, beautiful, perfect law enforcement. And what we want to do, and Cash is the one to do it.
Just last week, during his confirmation hearing, FBI Director nominee Kash Patel, who has yet to be confirmed, assured lawmakers there would be no retribution.
Every FBI employee will be held to the absolute same standard, and no one will be terminated for case assignments. All FBI employees will be protected against political retribution.
We reached out to Kash Patel for comment, but have not yet heard back. It's unclear why, but DOJ officials also want to identify those agents involved in the case involving senior Hamas leaders accused and charged of killing Americans in October 2023. A former FBI official tells Fox News if this expected purge goes through, it could take up to 2 years to get the FBI back to current levels of agents. In Washington, David Spunt, Fox News.
A fatal medical jet crash in northeast Philadelphia killed 7 people and injured at least 24 more. The NTSB is investigating not just this plane crash, but also the fatal mid-air collision in Washington, D.C. Fox's CB Cotton has more from Philadelphia.
The NTSB pulling double duty investigating 2 plane crash sites on the East Coast, one in Washington, D.C. and one in Philadelphia. Here in Northeast Philadelphia, the mayor provided an update on those injured after a medical transport jet crashed shortly after takeoff, killing 7 people.
We learned today that the number of people who have been treated so far with injuries that they suffered as a result of the crash has been increased from 22 to 24. 4 of those people remain hospitalized. 2 are now stable and 2 remain in critical condition.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy confirmed the black box was recovered from the impact site of the small air ambulance crash and is now heading to the NTSB lab in Washington, D.C.
That was a voice recorder box. We don't have a data recorder on this aircraft, but there is an enhanced ground proximity warning system. Information can come off that device.
A little further south, recovery operations continue with crews lifting wreckage from the Potomac River. Authorities said the operation to remove the commercial jet from the water will take several days.
The first of the 2 engines was removed at about 10 o'clock this morning. Shortly after that, about noon, we had the fuselage out of the water. And then about 2:30 this afternoon, we began our salvage operations to begin to bring the wing out of the water.
The NTSB hopes to have both preliminary incident reports completed within the next 30 days. In Philadelphia, CB Cotton, Fox News.
USAID headquarters in Washington, D.C. are closed today after President Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, took aim at the agency over the weekend. DOGE, which is led by Tesla CEO Elon Musk, is tasked with cutting government spending. Fox's Caroline Shively reports.
Elon Musk says he's shutting down the world's largest provider of food assistance with President Trump's blessing.
I actually checked with him a few times, said, are you sure? I'm like, yes. So we're shutting it down.
The U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID, manages tens of billions of dollars a year in humanitarian assistance distributed abroad.
It's been run by a bunch of radical lunatics, and we're getting them out.
Over the weekend, DOGE inspectors showed up at a USAID headquarters looking to review documents, including classified material about the agency's operations. In its first 2 weeks, the Trump administration has already slashed some international aid programs and suspended dozens of senior USAID officials. It's all part of the president and Musk's goal to cut $1 trillion in government spending.
What's happening right now is dangerous for the United States and humanity. These are people shutting down an agency and having no clue the work that is being done.
DOGE officials also went to the Treasury Department over the weekend and accessed information on Medicare and Social Security payment systems.
You have Elon Musk, who himself receives billions of dollars in government contracts, now seizing control over the payment systems to government contractors, including himself, including potential rivals, including potential friends. And what could go wrong?
Democrats are pushing back against any attempts to eliminate USAID, with Chuck Schumer, the top Democrat in the Senate, calling it illegal. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, the Maine Capitol Police welcome their newest member to their ranks.
And Tyler Cruz will be in with all your local sports. Stay with us.
I don't know what I did or who I am now, but I will be a doctor again.
Doc, all new, Tuesdays on Fox.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
Tired of your internet service constantly letting you down? Those other providers may promise the world with their flashy advertisements, but are you truly having a good customer experience? Fear not, because there's a new player in town. Introducing GoNetSpeed. No more endless hold times or automated responses. We're here to listen, support, and provide you with the exceptional service you deserve. Our fast, reliable fiber internet, it's mind-blowing. Let us show you what true internet satisfaction feels like.
R&K Variety is more than just a convenience store. With delicious homemade food made fresh daily. We offer hearty meals that don't break the bank. Whether it be our delicious chicken pot pie, one of our many savory soups, or a pizza, you can't go wrong at R&K Variety. Looking for a drink after a long workday? R&K Variety is an agency liquor store with an impressive selection. R&K Variety, more than just a convenience store. We're your neighbor, chef, barista, and friend. Stop by today.
Your favorite restaurants for half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Here's this week's featured deal.
Welcome to my buddy's place, where Maine classics meet a Sicilian twist. Join us in downtown Bucksport, where we're not just serving great food, we're creating a place where everyone feels like family. We can't wait to share a meal with you.
On sale Thursday at 9 a.m. A limited supply available half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7.
Welcome back. Egg prices are high, but might be getting even higher as a bird flu outbreak is affecting egg producers around the country. Fox's Jeff Flock is in Columbus, New Jersey with the story.
You are looking at a flock of free-range chickens. The eggs that these hens lay used to be in high demand. Well, now all eggs are in high demand. Joe Savastano runs Honey Hound Orchards here. Your eggs are premium eggs and used to get a premium price. Now they're all a premium price.
Yeah, they are all a premium price, and ours are free-range, pasture-raised hens, and they get a good diet, and they, in turn, they give me a great egg. But you're going to spend good money for these eggs. $7 a dozen. I know they're going for more in some spots, but here $7 a dozen.
Yeah, that's actually a great price, because take a look at these numbers. We were as recently as a couple of months ago under $4 for a dozen eggs, and now we're over almost $8 in terms of a national average. And you point out these hens are eating like kings and queens. Well, I guess they're just queens. You feed them tomatoes and all sorts of things.
We have tomatoes, watermelon, jalapeno peppers, broccoli, lots of leafy greens. This helps. There's not a lot of greenage available in the wintertime, and this helps supplement their diet. And like I say, it makes for a better egg.
You take good care of the chickens here, because the chickens are in demand as well. The hens, chicks now to replace them because of this, of the bird flu that has killed so many millions of hens.
Yeah, so it used to be $1 a chick you could buy and raise that chick to your full-size hens, but now $5 for that same chick. It's a lot of money. Thankfully, feed is stable, but it's getting them. You're not if you're going to spend $5 for a chick, you hope to be able to find them.
And the USDA says because of that, the high price of eggs may just continue. So maybe you can get free-range eggs for the same price you can get those white eggs at the store now. You ought to raise your prices, Joe.
Yeah, well, you know what? I feel like I'm comfortable where I'm at, but it's difficult. I sell out fast. I could raise them, and then maybe they wouldn't move as fast, but my local community, I'm sure they appreciate that, and they tell me they do. So
can't blame this one on the tariffs, folks. No, it's the bird flu, and the price of eggs continues to rise. In Columbus, New Jersey, I'm Jeff Flock for the Fox Business Network.
Well, Wall Street recovered a bit after President Trump announced he was postponing tariffs on Mexico. Fox Business Network's David Asman has that story and more in tonight's Fox Means Business.
Tariffs took Wall Street on a wild ride today. Stocks starting the week deep in the red, but trimming losses after President Trump announced tariffs on Mexico will be delayed by a month. The president made this decision based on Mexico promising to deploy 10,000 of its troops to the border to fight drug trafficking. The volatility sending investors on a flight to safety. Gold soaring to a record high on safe haven demand. Commodities experts warning that the market hasn't fully priced in the extent of a trade war, but it could lead to significantly higher gold prices going forward. And a shakeup in the beauty space. L'Oreal is selling its $3.1 billion stake back to a French pharmaceutical company. L'Oreal making the move to bolster its balance sheet while the beauty industry navigates a period of slower growth. And finally, for those parents yelling at their kids to eat their broccoli, you may want to hold that thought. 12-ounce bags of market-side, ready-to-eat broccoli sold to Walmart in 20 states is now the subject of a recall, and not just any recall, a Class 1 FDA recall, which is the highest risk level issued by the Food and Drug Administration. According to the recall notice, the broccoli may be contaminated with listeria. That's business. I'm David Asman.
Well, thousands are expected to be in New Orleans for the Super Bowl this weekend, and local officials are trying to reassure the public after a terror attack in the French Quarter last month. Fox's Madison Scarpino has more.
Welcome back to the city of New Orleans.
It's all hands on deck as New Orleans puts the finishing touches on security preps for Super Bowl 59 this weekend. The city is hosting the game for an 11th time, but there's added pressure this year after a New Year's Day terror attack on Bourbon Street killed 14 people.
We're about to be on a national stage again, and I hope we can pull it off.
Newly confirmed Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem visited the French Quarter on Monday to honor the victims of that attack. She also toured the Superdome to preview security measures for Sunday's game, reminding the public, if you see something, say something.
Keep saying something until you are heard. If you see something that has not been dealt with, to continue to raise the level of awareness until the response has been taken care of.
Officials say while there are no credible threats to the public, there will be an enhanced security zone around Bourbon Street starting Wednesday and mandatory bag searches for anyone entering the area. Thousands of state, federal, and local law enforcement officers are being deployed, and authorities say they're bringing in additional physical barriers to secure entry points.
We have worked tirelessly to ensure that the security and the safety of this city remains intact, and I believe that it absolutely will be.
New Orleans officials say many of these security measures will carry over into the Mardi Gras season. In Atlanta, Madison Scarpino, Fox News.
All right, well, coming up, we have our full 5-day forecast. There is more snow on the way, we believe.
I think so.
All right, my friends, get those shovels and plows prepared. More snow back in the forecast. Now, this isn't the main event. The main event arrives possibly on Thursday. How much snow are we going to get, and how cold is it going to get? I'll have all the answers coming up.
Injured in an accident? Are the bills and pain keeping you up at night? Phone lines are open right now to take your call. The law offices of Joe Bornstein is working hard to get their clients all the money they deserve. Find out what your case may really be worth.
So I called Joe, the law offices of Joe Bornstein, and I got way more.
They fight hard for injured Mainers.
Call Joe at 207-CALL-JOE.
Tell the insurance company you mean business.
Winter is a time to get outside and enjoy all that Maine has to offer. And when it's time to come inside, rest assured everything's toasty because of your Fujitsu heat pump from Valley Home Services. The comfort and warmth of home means more on days like these. Push a button and you'll be snuggling up on the couch in no time. Valley Home Services offers reliable rebates, significant energy savings, and expert installation. Embrace the comfort of Fujitsu heat pumps from Valley Home Services. Call or click today.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
Dragon Slayer Arcade now has 2 locations inside the Bangor Mall. Dragon Slayer has birthday party packages starting at just $50, which provides you with a designated area for you and your friends, which includes pizza and drinks. Dragon Slayer is all about birthday parties and would love for you to spend your next birthday with us. Give Dragon Slayer a call today to schedule your next birthday party. 860-462-1843.
These celebrities need to ignore the fear, or this course will break them.
Yes, Seth.
Special Forces, all new Wednesdays on Fox.
All right, welcome back, my friends. We're looking at a wintry highway out there. That's what I'm calling it. Low pressure system stretching from the west coast up north into North, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and then making its way all the way into the northeast where we are at. A little bit of a closer look. We're seeing that snow falling out there right now. A little bit of a rain and snow mix right at the coast. No surprises there with temperatures closer to freezing and even above that in a few locations. This is going to continue to stay very, very light. We're not looking at any heavy accumulations out there. Mainly a rain and snow mix even by those morning hours tomorrow here in town. Mainly sticking around as a snow event because temperatures are below freezing and they will continue to dip down back in those mid to upper 20s. And then later in the day on Tuesday into Wednesday, we are in the clear. But not in the clear for long. Right in time for Thursday, another chance of a good snowmaker back in the forecast. Now, this is mainly tonight into tomorrow morning. Not much snow at all. We're talking maybe a trace, half an inch at most in some spots. Well up north is where we're talking maybe up to 2 inches of snow, especially right at that border of Canada out of our viewing area. Overall, though, not looking like a big snow event at all. Not like what we've seen the last few days. Now, let's talk high temperatures, though. Pretty mild out there, right at the coast. Stretching from Rockland into Bar Harbor, Machias. You saw mid to upper 30s out there, mid 30s here in town. We were melting just a little bit of that snow away. Not too much though up north. We saw that stripe of some colder air, Greenville, Millinocket. You saw some upper 20s out there with that thick snowpack still on the ground. Now the last couple of weeks we've been kind of cold, right? We saw that up and down roller coaster ride of temperatures. We saw some teens out there a few days ago, temperatures close to freezing, and then right back down into those upper teens to lower 20s. Over the weekend, we should be at 29. That's our average high temperature for this time of year, right there, 29 degrees. We're going to be closer to average tomorrow, Wednesday. Not quite, no tango. We're not going to get anywhere near that. But Thursday into Friday, closer to freezing temperatures, and then back in those mid to upper 20s for next weekend. Now, we're not seeing any winter storm warnings, no winter weather advisories. We're good to go. Not anything big out there with the snow, but with the winds, different story. Gale watches in effect and also some gale warnings in effect till right around midnight on Wednesday. For now, not as bad. Machias, you're seeing some gusty winds, that little stripe right there with those blue colors indicating some sustained winds right around 15 miles an hour. Wind gusts are going to pick up by tomorrow afternoon. Wind gusts all over the state, potentially around 25, 30, 35 miles an hour in a few locations, even seeing some breezy conditions lasting into those morning hours on Wednesday. For tonight, though, rain and snow likely, mainly at the coast, mainly a snow event here in town. Temperatures back in those mid-20s. Now for tomorrow, though, upper 20s, partly cloudy skies, but oh boy, what is this? Windy conditions out of the northwest. That's really going to make us feel like we're back in the teens. Bundle up, my friends. Our extended forecast outlook does show a cold day out there for Wednesday, more snow on Thursday, and we're in the clear Friday and Saturday.
All right, Conrad, thank you.
Sports is next with Tyler Cruz.
Make a fresh start at Quirk Jeep with the Start Something New sales event. Lease 25 Ram 1500 Bighorn for $439 per month, or lease the Jeep Compass Limited for $349 per month. It's your Ram, it's your Jeep. Find it at Quirk in Bangor and Belfast.
Are your gutters weighed down by debris causing them to sag and overflow? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems. Clogged gutters lead to costly repairs for your home, so skip the cleaning and stop the clogs with Gutter Shutter. Gutter Shutter, the world's best gutter, is a high-performance gutter with a lifetime no-clog guarantee. Stop the clutter, get Gutter Shutter. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
I got hurt in a car accident, but hiring a lawyer sounds like such a hassle.
It's actually not. It's easier than you think to hire Lowry & Associates. Just call the twos.
We can tell you in just a few minutes if you may have a case. And that free call could mean the difference of thousands of dollars for you.
Lowry & Associates started working for me after just a few minutes, and they settled my case for $300,000.
It only takes a few minutes. Why wouldn't you call the twos?
Hurt in a car accident? I'm your go-to guy.
Call 222-2222.
Want to test drive U.S. Cellular's nationwide 5G coverage?
Yeah.
Download our app. Want to do it even faster?
Here we go.
U.S. Cellular works great out here. Wow, still have 5G here too. Hey, I wonder if U.S. Cellular lets me stream in my rec room. Yep, it's working.
Try out our nationwide 5G coverage free for 30 days. Download the U.S. Cellular Try-Us app today.
Turn heads in 2025 in the Tucson Hybrid Limited plug-in at Quirk Hyundai in Bangor. With sharp styling, comfort, and EV fuel economy, Tucson is a practical choice. Lease for just $399 per month. It's your Hyundai. Find it at Quirk.
Chiefs.
Everything you got, every single play.
Eagles.
Barkley, touchdown!
Super Bowl 59, Sunday on Fox and streaming on Tubi.
Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. We'll start on the ice. What a weekend it was for Maine men's hockey. Despite being a bit banged up, the Black Bears coming off of their bye week with a home sweep, taking down Northeastern on Friday before beating UMass on Sunday. The Black Bears won 3-1 Friday and 3-2 Sunday, with Albin Boya saving 44 of the 47 shots on the weekend, helping the Black Bears to the 2 wins. Boya made this game-saving glove snag on Sunday, with Maine leading 3-2 and facing a 6-on-5 from the Minutemen. Look at that angle from Maine Athletics. He made that incredible save. He was named Hockey East Goaltender of the Week yet again, and it also was good enough for SportsCenter's Top 10.
UMass of Maine. Maine's goalie Albin Boya coming across. I know he sounds like a legendary phrase. Boya, like Boya, like booyah, just missing one of the O's. Maine wins 3-2. That's a great save.
Booyah, love the Stuart Scott shout out. Maine move up to 5th in the nation with another big weekend ahead. A top 10 road matchup at number 7, Providence. Staying on the ice now, let's head over to Sawyer Arena for some Class A high school boys hockey. Bangor Rams have won 2 in a row, looking for a third as they host Kents Hill. First period is where we pick it up. Rams up 1-0. Here comes Kents Hill. This is Cameron Collicott, rips a shot on net, but Cody McHugh is there for the save. Still in the first now, Rams have it. Andrew Slocum leaves it for Preston Karam, and he rips this one on net past the goalie. That gives the Rams a 2-0 lead heading into the second. In the second now, Kents Hill has it. Antoine Morin all alone here on the breakaway, and his backhanded shot gets past McHugh. That is going to cut the Rams' lead in half, 2-1 now. But McHugh would only allow one more goal past him. Nice glove save here in the second period. Rams tack on 3 more goals too. They win it 5-2. To the basketball court now. It was a special weekend for Husson women's basketball and head coach Kissy Walker. On Saturday afternoon in Presque Isle, the Eagles took down UMaine Presque Isle 71-61, giving Coach Walker her 600th career victory as head coach of the Eagles. The former UMaine point guard has been with Husson as the head coach for now 35 seasons. She's the second coach in the state of Maine to reach the 600-win plateau and the first woman to do it as well. And she says the environment around her at Husson has played a big role in her success.
And it's been great hearing from everybody. And so I have reflected on it. And, you know, really I think I've been fortunate because I've had great players. I have a loyal staff that has been with me for quite some time. And, you know, Husson has been supportive in the administration. So you got to have, you know, those ingredients in order to have some success. And I know not everybody gets that where they're at.
Over her 35 years as the head coach, Walker has led the Eagles to 12 national tournament appearances between the NAIA and NCAA, and she's been named the Coach of the Year for her respective conference 11 times. And just ask her players, she is a multiple-time Hall of Famer for a reason, and she's gotten to know them pretty well over the years too, which has also been key.
I've said since the very beginning that, like, I chose Hassan because I felt cared about. Coach off the court is one of the best people you'll meet, so putting that into a coach, you couldn't ask for anything better.
You do learn from the kids. You know, I've had to learn, you know, all texting now when you're recruiting kids, and it's really about learning each individual player. You know, like when we start to travel more, you really get to know some of the players better, and in order to help them get better, understanding how they operate certainly helps.
Let's go to the baseball diamond now. On Sunday night, one Mainer was remembered for introducing the game of baseball to Japan, and one Red Sox outfielder was on hand in the Pine Tree State. Horace Wilson was born in Gorham, Maine, and traveled to Tokyo in the late 1800s to teach English, but that wasn't all his students learned during breaks in their class time. Wilson taught them the game of baseball, making it the first time baseball was played in Japan. Eventually, it grew to become the country's national sport. There's Japanese-born Red Sox star Masataka Yoshida. He was there at the University of Southern Maine, and he said the legacy Wilson left has passed on throughout the years. Certainly a cool event and a really cool story. You see Wally there, too. Speaking of the Sox, move over Groundhog Day. The unofficial start of spring training was Monday morning with the Red Sox equipment truck leaving Fenway for Fort Myers, Florida. Inside the truck, there are over 20,000 baseballs, 1,100 bats, 200 batting gloves, and 200 helmets, and then my favorite, 20 cases of bubble gum and 60 boxes of sunflower seeds. The Red Sox, they added a few big-name pitchers this offseason, mainly Garrett Crochet and Walker Buehler. Sox outfielder Masataka Yoshida, like we said, he was in Maine this weekend. Here's what he had to say on the season.
Yeah, obviously, this is a team that it's expected to win the World Series every year, right? But this is my first 2 years, I have not been able to achieve that with the team. So that's something that I'm looking forward to, and I'm just excited to be part of the team that's going to accomplish this year.
All right, pitchers and catchers report next week. Let's hope for better things this season from the Sox. That's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
When you can make anything possible because you have a reliable connection that puts everything within reach. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
When you're ready to tackle your next building project, depend on the knowledge and experience of Hammond Lumber Company. Hammond's Home Planning Center will turn your ideas into accurate conceptual drawings, and 3D visualization is available. Your Hammond sales rep will prepare a materials list and cost estimate. And when you buy all of your materials from them, Hammond will refund all of your design fees. Hammond can deliver your order from any of their 22 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner since 1953.
We can go into a room and have absolutely nothing in there, nothing on the windows, no color, no character, no tone to a room.
That's, I think, where we're strongest, is being able to help someone envision what's going to go in that window.
And we leave, it's totally transformed into something that the customer wants it to be. We've often been told we make a room look better just by leaving it.
Need your car fixed? You got somebody. Need your roof repaired? You got somebody. Need electrical work? Here's your somebody. The team at Ideal Energy Solutions is ready to tackle anything electrical in your home. From upgrading your service to handle today's appliances and heat pumps to whole house wiring, Ideal Energy Solutions is your somebody. Contractors for residential and commercial work. Don't settle for less than ideal. Go with Ideal Energy Solutions. Call today.
Rowell's Garage has been serving customers in the greater Dover-Foxcroft region since 1946. Our goal is not just selling you a vehicle, but also giving you quality service to maintain your vehicle at peak performance. Browse our inventory online or in person. Whether it's a car, truck, or SUV, we can put you in the vehicle that is right for you. Sales, service, and parts. Rowell's Garage, doing business the right way every day.
Earnhardt to the inside. Allison takes command. Gordon looking for the checkered flag. Here comes Logano.
The season 5 911 Lone Star series finale airs this week, and a couple of competition shows wrap up as well. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Season and series finales are part of what's hot on Fox.
Everyone okay?
Monday, the final episode of 911 Lone Star includes Captain Owen Strand and the 126 dealing with the aftermath of an asteroid crash in Austin.
This is now a warning.
Then on an all-new Rescue High Surf, the team is on high alert when a tsunami advisory is sent out after an earthquake.
They're like digging through the gumbo, checking to see if they had shrimp in it.
Tuesday, Gordon Ramsay visits 3 Southern Girls restaurant on Kitchen Nightmares.
Basically talking about giving up entirely.
After that, on Doc, Amy and Sonia work on a case with a teen in need of a bone marrow transplant.
I need you to find aggression. This is about control.
Wednesday, it's the season finale of Special Forces World's Toughest Test, and the remaining recruits face their final tests, including the interrogation phase of the course.
As the finalists of season 23 take these jackets.
Thursday, it's the season 23 finale of Hell's Kitchen. The final 2 chefs square off in one more dinner service, creating a custom menu. The winner takes a position at Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen at the Foxwoods Resort and Casino in Connecticut. Friday, Fox Sports presents college basketball, St. John's at UConn. It all leads up to Super Bowl Sunday, February 9th, with the Kansas City Chiefs facing off with the Philadelphia Eagles, all right here on Fox. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
As egg prices continue to rise, local businesses here in Maine are feeling the financial impact. Our Alex Schley tells us how one business owner is working to keep costs down despite the increase.
Prices have just gone crazy.
Sheila Bryant, owner of Sheila's Maine Treats, says rising egg prices have taken a toll on her business.
Usually this table is like, overloaded with different stuff. But I've had to cut down because I'm afraid if it doesn't sell, then it's going to hit my pocket a lot harder.
Bryant says she goes through nearly 300 eggs a week.
When I make my carrot cake, I have 24 eggs in that one recipe because I make a lot. So for me, I've had to cut down.
In addition to limiting how much she makes, Bryant has also cut some items entirely.
And I was making breakfast sandwiches, and I stopped that altogether.
She's also tried a number of egg substitutes.
Well, you can do stuff with applesauce and stuff like that. There's a baking soda mixture you can make up.
But she says the results never measure up to her standards. Bryant says she used to buy her eggs locally, but found that farmers increased their price so much that it was more cost-effective for her to buy wholesale. Despite efforts to keep prices low, Bryant says she's had to make some adjustments, including raising the price of her top-selling carrot cake.
It was $25 to $35, so you just have to. There's no way I could get around it.
In Clifton, I'm Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, finally tonight, a new recruit has joined the ranks of the Maine Capitol Police. Take a look. Teddy, a 17-month-old Labrador Retriever, is the Maine Capitol Police Force's first bomb detection dog. According to the Maine Department of Public Safety, having Teddy allows the Maine Capitol Police to conduct daily sweeps of the State House complex, which will ensure safety, reduce disruption from bomb threat hoaxes, and expedite decision-making in responses to potential emergencies. Now, if you're questioning Teddy's qualifications, well, rest assured he is the dog for the job. He was selected and trained through the Maine State Police Canine Unit and is certified through the Maine Criminal Justice Academy. On top of that, Teddy is the 100th detection dog to graduate the AKC Patriotic Pup Program. We'll have more in the week, more later this week on Teddy. Hopefully that includes lots of video footage.
I'm hoping so. They
Camera
said that they're
close-ups.
going to have a press conference for him, so
Yes.
he's going to make his big debut later this week. I believe it's Thursday, so tune in Thursday if
Yeah.
you want to see more Teddy. I know I do.
Yeah, I definitely, look at that face.
Yeah.
I mean, we just got the side view and I'm going, yes, more Teddy, please.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, welcome to Teddy. All right, that is going to do it for us. From everyone here at Fox 22 News, have a great night.
We'll see you later.
For more local news coverage, switch over to our sister station, ABC 7, right now for ABC 7 News at 11.
Jimmy's got Harrison Ford, Ariana DeBose, and music from My Morning Jacket. Later tonight on ABC.
There's a clear division in Mom Talk, sinners versus saints. Zach's parents are very conservative. They don't smoke, they don't drink.
I thought it was a graduation party. You guys are all going.
We're hosting Luca's baby blessing.
It's like super sacred and spiritual. You just don't want any bad energy.
I didn't know we were uninvited.
That wants to hurt you.
It's kind of like a Mean Girls in a sense. It's like them three against the world.
Denise, I have a gift for you though.
This was completely intimate and off the table. It is very hypocritical because she wants to create this safe space with Mom Talk.
Oh my God.
I just think it's below the belt.
This is ABC 7 News at 11.
A standoff in Brewer tonight ended peacefully with the